Holy shit, I'm not one to do news videos, but this is pretty big and juicy. What's up guys, it's your girl, Lady Pelvic of Pelvic Gaming, and I have an explosive announcement. I got tagged up the wazoo about this, so I figured I would do a quick video. July 24th, 2020, Rabbit and Bear Studios announced a crowdfunding campaign for a spiritual successor to the Suikoden series called Eiyuden Chronicles. The goal is $500,000 to get on PC fall 2022, and there's sure to be stretch goals to bring it to consoles. I am begging for this beauty on the Switch. The Kickstarter has started today, live right now, and runs until August 28th, 2020. Eiyuden Chronicles has some of the OGs of Suikoden. Aside from Murayama, the studio Rabbit and Bear features an impressive list of talent that includes Junko Kawano, the lead artist of Suikoden 1 and 4, Junichi Murakami, art director on Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, Suikoden Tactics director Osamu Komuta, and the composers Motoi Sakuraba, Tales of Composer, and Michiko Naruki, baby, of Wild Arms. Knowing that we have a seasoned team, I do feel confident we'll get that rich Suikoden story we desperately crave. Speaking of, this is the brief summary we've received. Welcome to the continent of Alran. Our story begins in one corner of Alran, a tapestry of nations with diverse cultures and values. By dint of sword and by the way of magical objects known as rune lenses, the land's history has been shaped by the alliances and aggressions of humans, beastmen, elves, and desert people who live there. The Galdena Empire edged out other nations and discovered a technology that amplifies the rune lens's magic. Now, the Empire is scouring the continent for an artifact that will expand their power even further. It is on such expedition that Seiyan Kessling, a young gifted Imperial officer, and Noah, a boy from a remote village, meet each other and become friends. However, a twist of fate will soon drag them into the Fire's War and force them both to re-examine everything they believe to be right and true. From this alone, I get major Suikoden 2 vibes when you compare certain images, and especially after hearing a gifted Imperial officer and a young boy from a remote village come together, two people with very different upbringings, yet I imagine them wanting the same thing, peace, but going about it differently. I 100% understand why they'd go with this kind of tale, as it's the most popular. I just hope they don't rely on it too much. Granted, there are differences. In Suikoden 2, Jowy and Ryu grew up together. Seiya and Noah look like they'll just get to know one another as the story progresses. I'm imagining they'll help one another in combat with Seiyan out of uniform, and then later they cross swords. Seiyan is on the enemy's side, and it's one of those, oh, it's you. Either way, it certainly looks like we're getting Suikoden's famous and classic war stories here. But what is a good journey without fine company? Already we're blessed with some insight of our heroes. Noah, 17, loves anything with meat in it, my kind of guy, and based on his quote, "That's who I am, a meddler, always will be, just ask Lean, so don't tell me to do nothing. I may not be able to help them, but I have to at least try." We can gather he's your run-of-the-mill hero, but he isn't silent, which is a big plus for me. He also kind of looks like a blend of all the mainline Suikoden protagonists. Same shaped face and boyish charm, dual wields like Laszlo. Not gonna lie, he's kind of standard looking. Seiyan Kessling, a nobleman, go figure, and hey, he's in the Empire, go figure. I will say the design absolutely gives you that vibe, blonde hair, blue eyes, typically associated with nobility. A royal blue, a color of wealth and status. I do like the quote, very spicy and reminiscent of Jowy from Suikoden 2. "I can dream all I want, but it won't change a thing. The world is not that kind. So if the only way to achieve my ideals is to betray them first, then I will do that, unflinchingly. You have my word." Ugh, love him already. There's a lot more, but I'm not gonna go through them all, but I have plenty of links in the description sourcing where I got all of my info. The last one I'm totally not biased towards at all is Marissa. We have a big-haired, strong woman who's the guardian of a forest. Based on her quote, "You just leave the forest to me. I know where the water springs, where the rabbits burrow, and most importantly, where your enemies will try to hide." She seems like a hunter. She also has a pet on her shoulder wearing green, absolutely giving her that one with nature vibe. Needless to say, the character designs are awesome, the cover art is great, shamelessly taking from Suikoden 3, I love it. They are not trying to hide that this is a Suikoden spiritual successor, baby, and rightfully so. One thing I'm very happy about is they seem rather far along, at least in the planning process. They have directors, composers, artists all lined up. They seem to have a pretty clear vision, and one of their goals is to bring an old school RPG field with Eiyuden Chronicles. And based on the looks of it, I think they're gonna nail it. If we take a look at the graphics and gameplay, we have 2.5D, and they reveal to us some of the beautiful backgrounds, and the character sprites are very reminiscent of Octopath Traveler, but more detailed, more pixels but same polish. Now, before we dive into the gameplay, if you're unfamiliar with Suikoden, I highly recommend you check out my videos on Suikoden 1 through 3, but TLDR, Suikoden is a turn-based RPG dating back to 1995 on the PlayStation 1. Suikoden is about collecting 108 Stars of Destiny to aid you in your rebellion. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes takes that concept. You'll find 100 heroes to aid you, but not all are playable. Some will reside in your castle, aka HQ, to open up shops, blacksmithing, a storage facility, and maybe a detective's office. Others will join you in battle, offering their unique skill sets. Low-key, I hope there's 8 secret characters, just for pettiness' sake. And this is a great time to talk about gameplay. Here you'll notice there are different formations depending on the area. Here we seem to be on the mountains fighting on a rocky bridge, and another where our heroes are surrounding what I'm gonna call the Kraken. In both images we have people in the front and in the back, but not in the same way Suikoden has done. Before we had clear front and back rows, which plays an important role on who you can attack, and alternatively who can attack you. Here it's more dynamic, and that alone already gives battles more of a realistic and kind of an ever-changing feel. Visually, it keeps you on your toes. Some characters are closer to the camera than others, giving the battle depth. And once you start attacking, the characters move to and fro from the camera, or the camera changes angles, centering itself around the active character. It's seamless and really builds upon the camera of Suikoden 2, which also focuses on whoever's attacking, but less fluid. I'm really hoping what we saw here is actual gameplay and not something merely for the sake of the trailer. Really excited to see what else they have added or have in store for combat such as unite attacks, or maybe semi-build off of Suikoden 4 where you can have 3 parties. Granted, 2 of them are only accessible at sea. And if they love me, they'll keep the skill point system of Suikoden 3. Another thing Murayama said, and is a super welcomed addition, and I quote, "There are guilds that you can join which largely change the visual makeup of your fortress town and grant different abilities. The more people you recruit, the stronger the snowball effect. As you level up, new trade options appear along with enemies and thieves that will randomly attack your town in an effort to impede your progress. You need to make choices whether to strengthen your walls or hasten your progress. Each choice will make every play session feel different and have its own unique consequences." That is awesome! I also think that's a low-key callback to one of his more recent works, Alliance Alive, where guilds play an important role. And lastly, the music is done by Motoi Sakuraba, famously known for his Tales of works, and my girl Michiko Naruki of Wild Arms. If you're new here, I've been on a Wild Arms binge. Check out my review, and the review of Wild Arms 2 is coming soon. And if you don't know, Wild Arms has a banging soundtrack. I do wonder how the music is going to be because I'm not crazy about Suikoden soundtracks. They have a lot of folk music going on, which isn't for me. The original composer of Suikoden, Miki Higashino, cited a lot of her inspirations being Lunasa, who specializes in Irish folk, and Celtic. Havia, who's a Spanish bagpiper, so we'll have to see how the new composers change up their style to fit Eiyuden Chronicles. There is so much we have yet to see. A world map, duel battles, war battles, are they coming back? If so, what's the unique spin? What about mounts? Will they make a return? To quote Murayama once more, he says, "This is just the tip of the iceberg." So us fans have a hell of a lot more to look forward to after this baby gets funded. In the description below, I've linked the Kickstarter, Murayama's Twitter account, and Eiyuden Chronicle's Twitter account. So please be sure to follow and check out all of them. I hope to see everyone's support, whether it's financially or just sharing this video around, and to be honest, I don't normally do these types of videos, and numbers talk, so if you want me to do more coverage videos like this, let's get the views up, baby. If this video gets a positive reception, of course that will motivate me to do more news videos in the future. Until next time, peace. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support on these videos. Top box is my Suikoden review, and the bottom box is my Wild Arms review. I recommend both series, and to get a better idea of what Eiyuden Chronicles is all about, I encourage you to check out my coverage of Suikoden. Also, to longtime supporters, I know you've been wondering what the hell happened to my Suikoden 4 video. Listen, there are on-location shots that needed to be filmed, but COVID-19 is a thing, but everything else is shot. The audio, gameplay, script is done, I just need the live bits. I humbly ask for your patience, and in the meantime, enjoy the upcoming reviews of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Kirby Planet Robobot, Wild Arms 2, and Dragon Quest VIII. Until then, bye!